Hi, it's Hope and welcome to the video. As you can tell by the title, this is going to be my April book haul slash a book outlet haul because all of these books that I did acquire in April, I almost forgot the month there, in April all came from book outlet. So I'm going to say what the book is and then say how much it costs. And then read this review. So first we have the glass spar, I think that's how you pronounce it, The Glass Spar by Lauren DeStefano, and this cost $5.73. This is in Canadian money because I live in Canada, so it's Canadian currency. So I'm going to read the description and all that. Wilhelmina Heidel, the fourth child and only daughter of the king of the world's wealthiest nation, has grown up in the shadows, kept hidden from the world in order to serve as a spy for her father, whose obsession with building his empire is causing a war. Will wants nothing more than to explore the world beyond her kingdom if only her father would give her a chance. Until one night, Will is attacked, and she discovers a dangerous secret. Her touch turns people into gemstones. At first, Will is horrified by her powers, but as she tests its limits, she's drawn more and more to the strange and violent ability. When it leads to tragedy, though, Will must face the destructive force within her and finally leave home to seek the truth and a cure. But finding the key to her redemption puts her in the path of a cursed prince who has his own ideas for what to do with Will's power. With the world brink on war and the power of ultimate destruction, can Will find a way to help the kingdom that's turned its back on her, or will she betray her past and her family forever? So that sounded interesting, and this is a duology, so there is a second one, which I do not have, but if I like this one, I might buy that one too. So the next one is An Enchantment of Ravens by Margaret Rogerson, and I have read the Sorcery of Thorns, which is I think her most recent book or something like that, and this is one of her older books, so I want to see if I enjoy it. And yes, there's still the sticker. I don't want to take the sticker off because I don't want to ruin it, but also that. And this one costed $6.45. Now, every enchantment has a price. Isabel is a prodigy portrait artist with a dangerous set of clients, the immortal fair folk. But when she receives her first royal patron, Rook the Autumn Prince, she makes a terrible mistake. She paints mortal sorrow in his eyes, a weakness that cost him his life. Furious, Rook spirits Isabel away to stand trial for her crime, but something is seriously amiss in his world, and they are attacked from every side. Forced to depend upon each other for survival, their alliance blossoms into trust, perhaps even love, a forbidden emotion that would render both their lives forfeit. What force could Isabel's paintings conjure that is powerful enough to defy the ancient malice of the fairy courts? Yeah, that just sounds so interesting, especially I've been wanting to read more kind of fairy, fairful kind of books since reading A Court of Thorn and Roses, and I've heard that this one kind of is not similar, but it has similar kind of things, but obviously not as intense. But yeah. The next is, I hate that my phone keeps on turning off, so I have to keep on going into it. The next is A Court of Frost and Starlight by Sarah J. Maas, and this was $6.77. And I can't read the back because this is the novella to A Court of Thorn and Roses and that series, so I cannot read this because this is technically the 3.5 in the series. It's kind of the bridge between the first half of the series and then the second half that is yet to be released. But all I can kind of say is this is about a girl named Farah. I think that's how you pronounce her name. Farah. And she is a mortal girl who ends up being swept into the Fae Courts after she kills a wolf, which is actually a Fae in like disguise type thing. And this series is kind of about her learning her way through the Fae Courts, and a bunch of things hit the bump in the night. And the first one is kind of like it's basically a Beauty and the Beast retelling, the first one, and then as we go through the series it gets darker and deeper and kind of all that. I can't really say much more without wanting to just talk about the entire series as a whole, but I'm excited to read this because it is it's more of like a it's more of a fun kind of book based compared to the other ones, which is more like these characters having to go, like, deal with all this like dark, dangerous stuff. And this one, it kind of sounds much more of kind of fun and cute, more or less, and all that. Ooh. Sorry, I just flipped through and there was a pretty decoration on one of the pages. But yeah. Next we have Neverwake by Amy Plum, and this one was $3.42, and again, this is the second book in a sequel. The first book is Dreamfall, which I read it in April. I forgot there. I read it in April, and this is a story of 6 teenagers who all have insomnia, do this like sleep trial type thing, which is something that's supposed to kind of rewire their brain to get them to sleep. And it goes wrong, and they end up trapped. They end up trapped in their nightmares, and it's them going through their nightmares, facing their biggest fears and biggest challenges, all while trying to figure out a way out and how they got there, because they forgot how they got there. So yeah, I read the first one. I loved it. I gave it a 5 stars, and I'm so excited to read this one. So yeah. The next is Seafire by Natalie C. Parker, and this one cost $8.36, and as it says, is a signed copy. It actually is a signed copy, which I'm so, like, this is literally now gonna be my pride and joy because it's signed. And yeah, so here we go, knocking everything over. After her family is killed by a corrupt warlord, Arthur and his bloodthirsty army of bullets, Caledonia Styx is left to chart her own course on the dangerous and deadly sea. She captains her ship, the Moors Navis, with a crew of girls and women just like her, who've lost their families and homes because of Eric and his men. The crew has one mission: stay alive and take down Eric's armed and armored fleet. But when Caledonia's best friend and second in command barely survives an attack thanks to the help from a bullet looking to defect, Caledonia finds herself questioning whether to let him join their crew. Is this boy the key to taking down Arthur once and for all, or will he threaten everything the women of Moors Navis have worked for? So it's like a it's like a found family dealing with enemy, like a common enemy. And yeah, it sounds interesting because it's like takes place at sea, and it sounds very interesting to me. And like the cover is pretty, and it's a signed copy, and I refuse to remove the sticker because like it's a signed copy, which it was literally like, I think it was maybe like 75 cents more to get a signed copy versus a non-signed copy, so I'm like, I'm getting a signed copy. Next we have Four Dead Queens by Astrid Scholte. I don't know if that's how it's pronounced, and this one costs $8.01. So, on to the description. 17-year-old Carolee Corrington may seem harmless, but in fact, she's one of Quadra's most skilled thieves and a liar. Varen, on the other hand, is an honest, upstanding citizen of Quadra's most enlightened region, Ionia. Varen runs afoul of Carolee when she steals a package from him, putting his life in danger. When Varen attempts to retrieve the packet, he and Carolee find themselves entangled in a conspiracy that leaves all four of Quadra's queens dead. With no other choice and on the run from Carolee's former employer, the two decide to join forces and devouring to discover who killed the queens and save their own lives in the process. When the reluctant partnership blooms into a tedious romance, they must overcome their own dark secrets in hopes of a future together that seems impossible just days before. But first they have to stay alive and untangle the secrets behind the nation's four dead queens. And that sounds interesting, and I've heard good things about this, but then at the same time I've heard bad things about it. It's a standalone, so it will be hopefully a quick read because it's only like it's only a little over 400 pages, which that's usually like a 3-day read or so for me, so yeah. And the final one is, I have to open the phone, is The Cerulean by Amy Ewing? I think. I don't know. That's not. Beautiful cover, by the way. Like, that is just so pretty. Like, I think I saw the cover a few months ago on a Facebook group that I was in that was talking about this, and I was like, that's so pretty. And, yeah. Sarah has always felt as if she didn't quite belong to her people, the Cerulean, who lived in the city above the sky. She is curious about everything, especially the planet that her city is magically tethered to, and can't stop questioning her three mothers, her best friend Leela, and even the High Priestess. Sarah has longed for the day when the tether will finally break and the Cerulean can move to a new planet. But when Sarah is chosen as a sacrifice required to break the tether, she feels betrayed by everything she's been taught to trust. In order to save her city, Sarah must throw herself from its edge and end her own life. But when something goes wrong and Sarah survives the fall, landing on the planet below, in a place called Kaelin, Sarah has heard tales about humans. She quickly learns that the dangers her mothers warned her were not just stories. Meanwhile, back in the city, all is not what it seems, and the life of every Cerulean may be threatened if Sarah is not able to find a way home. So it's about a girl who is a Cerulean that ends up on Earth. It's like a version of, it's kind of like an Earth with humans, and it's the kind of, you know how it's always like the human goes into like the magical world or the like all that. It's the magical person going into the human world, which kind of intrigues me, and it intrigues me on how this tether works and is she gonna get home and all that. So yeah, and it's a chunker. It's like almost 500 pages. So yeah. So those were the 7 books that I got. I'm not holding up the stack because getting the thumbnail, I like dropped half these books on the floor. So there's that. Stupid light. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, and bye.